My name is Jordan.
My name is Feng Mengyan.
My name is Anparasan. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about something that meant quite a lot to us. We're all at university, and what we noticed was international students, and not just international, quite a few students who have cultured names or names which are not English, they changed it into English names, and we were wondering why this was. I've definitely noticed this trend. Have you guys noticed? Yeah.
Yeah.
We were wondering, why do people change their names into English ones? So what was your friend again?
Oh, my friend. So I've got this friend at uni. She's called Royjun, and she's changed her name to Ray. I've got another one called Gino. He's from Korea, and he's changed it from to Jake.
Right.
So
Yeah.
completely different.
Yeah. Like I've got a friend. His name is Philippos. He's from Greece, and whenever he introduces himself, he introduces himself as Philip, and. I mean, I was like wondering, why is this? So that's what this video is going to explore in more detail. So we came up with a few ideas. So the first idea was perhaps that people just want to fit in, and people want to not be scared that they're being judged or that they're going to be discriminated against due to their name. And the name isn't just a name; it represents an identity and a culture behind that as well. So I guess that kind of links into job prospects and employment as well. And perhaps names are just hard to pronounce. Perhaps we struggle to pronounce them, or perhaps they're just hard to remember. So I guess this links into a branding issue as well, because it links into how memorable a name is. So I want to talk to you, Steph, about how your name works. So is it do you have, because her name is Stephanie, but her name is also Mayan. So is Mayan a nickname, or is it do you have two names? How does it? And also, what do you prefer to be called?
I prefer to be called Stephanie, but my real name on my birth certificate is Mayan Stephanie Feng. So it's not just a random name I just plucked out of the air and chose for my name. I guess because I was brought up in London since birth, I just wanted to fit in, I suppose. And Stephanie was the closest way to fit in, especially when it's so easy to just change a name like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I just think to myself, that's quite upsetting that you have to change a name to fit in.
Yeah, but then I was also really young, so I guess when you're young you wouldn't know any better, and since it was an easy way to do it, I just chose to change my name.
I'm one of your few friends that call you Mayan, right?
Yeah. So he's one out of two friends who call me Mayan, and apart from my parents who call me Mayan, that's how I know I'm in trouble. So, yeah.
And Jordan, can you talk to us about your perspective on this and your experiences?
Well, as you've heard, my name is Jordan. So in terms of people in this country mispronouncing it, or not having the time to learn how to pronounce it, I don't really get that as an issue. It's misspelled more than anything else. I don't know how, but even so, I would just say it's more of a thing I've witnessed within my friendship groups and whatever, where you'll have, or particularly for me, a lot of my friends will also be of African descent or Afro-Caribbean descent, and particularly from the continent itself. A lot of the names that people have will be linked to the cultures and the languages of the countries from which they come from, and there are hundreds of thousands of languages across Africa. So we could have people from Nigeria. A lot of my friends are of Igbo or Yoruba descent, or you may have. I've got friends who are East African, and their names will be completely different, maybe Swahili or from Bantu language region. So all of that plays in, and you find these names all have intrinsic meanings which link into the culture, and people are proud of these names, and parents give these names to their children because it's meant to be auspicious, or it will represent something meaningful for their child. So I always find it quite sad when you have children here who may go to school very proud of their names because they've been told what it means and blah blah blah, and an English person here will just say, oh, there are too many syllables, I'll call you Dave, or I'll call you I don't know, Susan instead of your actual name. And I think it's more of a thing where even if, of course, names from different parts of the world will inherently be a lot different and more, well, not necessarily difficult to pronounce, but a lot more foreign to an English tongue. So the thing that we're trying to say is not necessarily like, oh, you've got to be saying the name exactly as someone from my background would, but it's more the fact that at least you can, try to respect the name and try to understand and maybe try your best to pronounce it. And if you can't, then maybe I don't know, some people choose to shorten their name just for, brevity and not having to go through this, or they just say, well, this is my name, just try your best. If you don't get it right, then it's fine. It's more the principle of actually respecting that different people from different parts of the world have different sounding names. It's funny you mention that, because in the club, like in club situations, for example, when I introduce myself, people just don't quite. One, they can't hear it, so obviously they're going to struggle with it. So in the club, when the music's pounding, and I'm like, "Yeah, my name's Anparasan," they're like, "Sorry," I'm like, "Anparasan, sorry." And then I revert back to my short name. I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's Anpu," and they're like, "Oh, Andrew," and I'm like, "No." So yeah, so and then also back to the point that we were talking about with pronunciation and like aiming to learn names. Like you find. Like people can, go over all kinds of hurdles, all these loops to try to pronounce names like Tchaikovsky and other like famous composers or whatever from Europe. But when it comes down to people who might be from Asia or Africa or whatever, there seems to be a difference in attitude to trying to pronounce the name as best as they can without just reverting to stereotypical noises or just not attempting to learn it at all. So.
Why do you think that different cultures across the globe are treated differently to other cultures?
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting to look at how different names from different cultures are respected. And I think a lot of people in England and Britain will, because of its history and where it comes from, there's a mindset that, stuff that is done by Europeans or from like that kind of extraction is worth more of your time, worth more of your respect than something that comes from outside of the Western sphere, so to speak, including like America and stuff. So, for example, although it's not necessarily prevalent as it was maybe several years ago, I think the mindset tends to be passed down through generations. So what you see is the relationship between Britain and when it used to have its empire, where it would be all over the world, like practically nearly most of Africa, several parts of Asia, including like Hong Kong and other areas. The attitudes then towards names and so to speak, so culturally significant names, would have been very dismissive and flippant. And I think a lot of that kind of mindset has affected the people in these countries, and it's also something that was prevalent within Britain, and it's still sort of there in many places today where people sort of don't really think too much of like a name. Yes, I think these like small bits play into people necessarily or sort of feeling a slight bit of shame about their name and maybe wanting to revert to a Western name when they're in the West because they think it might be, I don't know, easier to fit in, or people won't laugh at them, or it's like, I don't know, you might be cooler. I don't really know. Different points can be made. And then vice versa, people's attitudes towards the names, and people still keep them. As Anparasan mentioned earlier, with teachers not really being too interested in actually learning his name properly, and will just say, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 syllables with an A and a P here, there, and whatever, and think, oh, that's acceptable. But yeah.
I disagree with that though. I think it's probably like a double standard in, let's say, in Asian countries as well. So let's say if you've got an English name and you live in China or Japan, they can't really pronounce the, how do you say it, R? The R. They can't pronounce R's basically. Yeah. So let's say if your name was Richard, they won't be able to pronounce it that well. They might give you a nickname, like something like Ri Chan or Kui Li, or I don't know. So I would say this is probably something that occurs all around the world. It's not just about in London.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a really interesting point that it's kind of like in everywhere. Everyone experiences this problem, perhaps.
Yeah.
And go on.
Yeah, no, I definitely, that's definitely true. I agree with that. I think, though, how that plays out in different countries is a different thing, because you have, with how society is built and whatever, if, I don't know, an English person who's relatively or proficient enough in Chinese or so could probably go to China or other places and maybe given employment because of how the West and Western people may be viewed in other parts of the world, because of the history of the West and how many people who may have been like under the West's control or whatever look up to them and think, oh yeah, they must be intelligent, we should employ them, blah blah blah. But in terms of how it works the other way around, if, I don't know, a Nigerian person came to London and wanted to get employment, and they wrote down their full name, there might be a Yoruba person, an Igbo, whatever, they write that down, like the attitude there, the people may still think, oh, the name sounds strange, as someone in Nigeria may think an English name sounds. But the way the power structures work is that somebody who's Nigerian in London is far less likely to be able to get that employment, all those benefits, as opposed to maybe the other way around. And in other countries, so it definitely happens in different countries, but it's the way that it affects people which makes it a problem. And I think it's worse here because of how the power structures work in favour of like white Western people, as opposed to people from other parts of the world and different ethnicities and backgrounds.
Jordan, didn't you go to China yourself?
Yeah, I did actually. So a sort of funny story. When I was in China, I told people my name was Jordan and whatever, and they would respond, "Oh, Jordan, like Michael Jordan." So obviously, you know, I'm black as well, and they know a famous person from America, Michael Jordan. So yeah, in terms of that, sort of plays into what I was saying. Like the response to names is slightly different. It's more of like a, you know, it's a funny thing, but it's sort of treated differently. It's not looked down upon. It's more like, oh, that's quite cool or whatever. I'd say the dynamic is completely different. So yeah, that's.
It's funny because like in the UK, on your CV you're not meant to have a picture, but you can actually tell what ethnicity you are just because of your surname.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
and I feel like that links into our original point where we thought that people were just scared. I feel like people feel just scared that they'll be discriminated against. And people are scared, and it's difficult. And I guess this links into what I was talking about earlier about me and my YouTube channel and how I changed it to Anpu. And I just wanted to be honest with you and say that I mean, I changed it. I changed it because I thought that it would be easier for people to recognise. And I'm not saying it's easy at all, like, especially living in the society that we do. Perhaps it is difficult for people to keep their name, even if they do want to. So I guess the overall message of this video today was to highlight the fact that, yes, if you don't like your name, then go ahead and feel free to change it. But if you do like your name and you're proud of your name, why do you have to change your name that you love? Just to conform to Western society, and I feel like this is wrong. If you do want to keep your name, then you should be able to keep it and not live in fear that you're going to be judged for it.
I agree.
Everyone judges. Don't be scared. Like, for real.
Don't let society make you feel as if you shouldn't love your name any more than you already do.
Definitely. So. Let me know your opinions on this topic. Give this a thumbs up if you agreed with what we were saying. But if you did disagree, I want to hear your comments. Comment down in the comments below, and I'd love to read your thoughts on this. Have you gone through the same problem as well? Check out Stephanie's YouTube channel and blog. The link is in the description below, and so is Jordan's blog. Check out my previous video where I take you to London to show you the wonders of Brick Lane. Subscribe to my channel. Alright, so
subscribe to my channel to see more travel videos.
No, but this isn't about travel. So it's like.
See.
Do you need us? Actually, if you're saying subscribe to the video,
yeah.
Should we still be here? Or are we going to be endorsing it or what?
It's fine.
We'll just do a smart.
Okay, yeah. What's the thing that they usually say? Like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. Something that's like a
like, comment, something and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.
Yes, that.
Yep, very good. Very good.
So like, do you like? Because I actually call her my. Literally, I just demonstrated the fact that it's so easy to mispronounce these names.
Oh, it has to be recording an audio.
Is it not?
No. Alright, go back to the branding.
Let's do it again.
Oh my god.
Let's just start recording it now so it doesn't make any...
That was so good though.
Recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's